Welcome to the GHQ Crew podcast, where when in doubt, you better punch that ball out. Hey guys, welcome to episode 12, episode 13. Episode 13. These things have been flying by. We're so excited. Today's a great episode. It's going to be an amazing conversation with two amazing gentlemen in the sport of golf.
Two legends
In the sport of golf, especially in, I'm just going to say it, the whole of golf. Two legends in the whole of golf. And we're very excited to have these two gentlemen on. And I'm just going to go out and introduce, first of all, Mr. Huckabee. We're so delighted to have you on the podcast today.
Well, thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here and sit with you guys and have a conversation. We're
excited. This is going to be good.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Mr. Gasser, we're so excited to have you today.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's been fun to get to know you guys better and use your shop, and some of my players have been able to be fitted here, and it's been fun to share that experience with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
So why don't we just dive right into the conversations, because these two guys have some amazing history in golf, some amazing history in West Texas, especially developing the landscape of golf out here in West Texas. So let's start with you, Mr. Huckabee. Can you kind of give us your story of when you got started in golf, where you got started in golf, and a little bit of that history?
It's been so long you can hardly remember that far back. I started when I was 4.
Wow.
My dad cut off a driver, a 7-iron, a putter, and he told me if I could keep up that I could go with him when he went to play. So I had my little bag, and I'd whack it and chase it. And he was walking back then when most people did, and it gave me the opportunity to learn. He showed me how to hold on to it, how to grip it.
Yeah.
And which turns out to be the most important thing you can learn. But it's been a long time. It's been a lot of golf balls since then.
I bet.
For sure.
So your daddy told you if you can keep up, if you can walk with me, you're in.
You got to go. Yeah, I'm not waiting on you. You got to go.
That's the way golf is, too. I mean, you can play with anybody if you can just keep up and play. It doesn't matter if you're a scratch player playing with a 20 handicapper.
100%.
If you just
Exactly.
keep up, man, you're welcome to play with anybody.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're not having to wait on you. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's that. I had one yesterday. We played for 5 hours and 45 minutes, and golf isn't meant to be played for that long.
That's a lot of golf, especially as hot as it is.
Exactly. It's a lot of golf. I don't care how hot it is.
That's a lot of golf.
That might be at 9. Your wife called or something. It's time to go.
It might have been.
You know what I mean?
Been a good time to have to go mow the yard.
It's 104 degrees. You out in that yard.
I've got to get that yard mowed.
Yes, sir. So you started when you were 4. Pops cut some clubs down and said, "Hey, if you can hoof it with it, you can play." Where did it? I guess was the passion such an instant thing for you that it just caught on right away?
It was. I lived in a very small town. We lived in Hale Center, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Well, I grew up in Abilene, actually, the first 4 years, but we moved to Abilene, from Abilene to Monahans, or to Hale Center, then to Monahans, but there was not really anything to do
Yes, sir.
much. And so I had a box full of golf balls, and the school was about a block away, and I would take my golf balls up there and just hit ball after ball after ball after ball. And I kind of say self-taught with my dad there. We're kind of watching over everything.
Sure.
And but it was a passion. When I was 9 years old, I could hit a hook, I could hit a fade, I can hit high, I can hit low. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to have the ability to do that. God blessed me tremendously with good hands, and it's been special ever since to me. Golf has been very special in my life, been a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I got a question, Dub, because we actually had this conversation with Anaya, some of the other people that we've had through here. And, it always goes into, how was your dad, right? Like, how was your dad or your coach? And if your dad was your coach, what was that relationship like? Sounds like he just kind of lets you do your thing.
He kind of gave me the basics.
Yeah.
Here's how you grip it. And after that, it was just watch me swing, and he didn't do a lot with it.
Yeah.
He kind of let me go and
Just kinda let you do your
me
thing.
enjoy what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think today we get away from that a little bit. I think we're way too technical with our kids today.
Yeah.
Be on the practice tee, and I'll see a 4 or 5 year old young kid, and someone trying to tell him, you got to set this angle, and you got to do. And I'm like, by the time he's 10, we're not going to do that.
That's right.
I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
I mean, let him hit it and chase it.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Rick, from a college coach perspective?
Yeah, that's changed a lot. Just like Dub said, it's really got so technical, and every one of my players have their own particular swing coach, and we're doing videos all the time, and just was so refreshing. Like the other day when we did a fitting with you three, and then Coach Huckabee would just say, "Hey, make this simple. Turn your sternum away, turn your sternum back to the target, and quit getting so tied up in all this other stuff. Just make a good turn and hit the ball." So a lot of it is, it's just we make a simple game really difficult.
Yeah.
The game's easier if you can just make the game simple.
Well, and it's those younger years too, Dub, like that, you kind of given us that 4 to 10, 11 years old timeline. There's this beauty when you're young. So I had this young man back in the day at Powder Creek when I was teaching, and he was just in town for the summer, but his daddy wanted him to get lessons and keep the momentum going, right? And so his grandmother brought him over to me, and this kid, when he got there, I went, this kid's like 5. It's like, how do you want me to teach this kid?
Yeah.
I had a ball with this kid. It was unbelievable. He was actually a pretty good little player. But I'll never forget this. He hits it on to number 10, which was a really short par 3, guys. It was a, kind of a front to back sloping green, and it, from the front to the back, it was a good 60, 70 feet probably, right? This kid hits it on the front of the green. I kid you not, grabs the putter, and, what are you going to say to this kid?
Yeah.
Just wag that thing up there. I didn't say anything. And he kind of looks at the hole, no practice strokes, just kind of looks at it, then gets over the ball, and then kind of looks again, drops it from like 60 feet.
Yeah.
But what I learned in that moment was the beauty of how simple they keep it.
Right.
We kind of tend to make it too hard.
Absolutely.
So that I think that's kind of an advantage that you had.
It definitely
looking
was.
back, right?
It definitely was, and I would tell every parent, let them have fun.
Yeah.
Let them go have fun. If they like it and it's something that's fun for them, they'll put the time in.
Yeah.
And then you can shape later. Mm-hmm. But just let them hit it as hard as they want to hit it and go chase it.
I think that's one thing Dub said too when I was starting to teach some younger kids is let them hit it hard, because you can't teach that later. I mean, if you can develop a way to hit the ball a long ways by yourself, that's a tool that you can't teach.
Right.
And he told me that a long time ago. Just teach them to hit it hard.
Man, that's an awesome piece of advice there. I've never really thought of that. You can always
throttle it back.
Yeah, you can always kind of dial it back.
Yeah.
Well, and they want to know. They want to be the guy that hits it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll just stand out there and hit a lot of balls to learn to hit it further.
Sure.
Yeah.
And because that's fun. Golf has to be fun. That's all there is to it.
David has this awesome story that he tells me because he was an All-American, and he said he was at a junior tournament walking down the range, and Phil Mickelson was there and Jim Furyk was there. And he said he was walking with his dad, and he got behind Jim Furyk and stood there for a second and watched him as a junior hitting some golf balls. And he looked at his dad and he said, that swing won't last. And he tells the story like he looks at it today and he's like, it didn't matter what the swing looked like as long as at impact there was a proper turn and the hands were in the right spot at impact. He said I think back on that there was so much technicality to it, but in the end, all that mattered was at impact, where it was.
Yeah.
It's amazing how golf has changed, because you're exactly right. When Jim Furyk was growing up, there weren't golf headquarters.
Right.
There weren't places to go that someone could tell you, this is how you grip it, this is how you stand, this is how you swing. You look at it today, it looks like they're coming off of a manufacturer line.
Right.
You know, they all look the same. I mean, basically.
Sure.
So you don't get the Lee Trevino, or you don't get the Jim Furyk or the Gabe Brewer.
Yeah.
Showing my age now for sure, but those guys had some really unique.
Even
golf
Nicholas
swings.
to a degree.
Nicholas
know.
led the pack.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he hurt more backs in America than anybody in the world because he taught that reverse seat, and everybody did it. Hurt their back.
Yes, sir.
But he did it because he'd hit the ball so high. He would hit a 1-iron. It looked like he was hitting a pitching wedge. And so he could hit shots with long irons that stopped, gave him a tremendous advantage. And so he led the pack in that swing.
This brings up an interesting question for y'all. Do you think technology is amazing, right? We're able to dial in numbers like never before.
Right.
But do you think to a detriment that technology can actually hurt a player's development too early if you introduce it too early into the game?
I mean, I do. I was thinking about that earlier today when I was thinking about coming, and that's one thing I did want to talk about is I don't think you should be fitted till you're finished growing,
Sure.
know what your golf swing does. It's hard for you guys to fit someone that doesn't have a consistent swing. So, just get a junior set and go through the process and learn how to hit the ball, learn how to manipulate the ball. And then when you become a good player or you're going to play competitive golf, even in high school at that time, hey, maybe that's time, to get a set that fits you and you can manipulate the ball a little more, be a little more consistent. But, for a while, till you're a 10 handicapper or something, it's not going to matter.
Enjoy the game.
Yeah, enjoy the game.
For sure. And
Biggest thing is learn how to chip and putt, because if you can chip and putt, you can play golf.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
That's where you win and lose.
Sure.
Putting it, no doubt.
And I've always been curious about that because you guys have seen it firsthand being on the Foresight bays. We can dial it in down to the tee.
Yeah.
And I think there's a point where too early in the game, I'm not talking about once you're maybe a college player or an adult, but too early in the game, you can get their mind thinking about things that they probably don't need to be thinking about right away.
yeah,
Well, and it listen, Dub and Rick were both phenomenal athletes. We'll get into that in a minute. It wasn't just golf for these
Right.
two, by the way. Okay. But you guys are real close with the Escamilla family,
Yes.
right? And so right before Austin took off for Rice, he came by, we looked at some stuff, and I told Austin, looked him right in the eye, and I said, Austin, you hear me on this. I don't care if you listen to anything else I've ever said in my life. You listen to this. When you get down there, throw that TrackMan in the trash. I don't want you sitting there looking at numbers all day.
Right.
Okay? You need to play, you need to get the experience, you need to get out there and compete. And if you start worrying about those numbers they're just numbers. If you start worrying about those too much, you'll start moving backwards, not forwards.
Exactly.
You're trying to control too many elements at that point. Just let it be what it is. Now, there's times we need to look at the numbers.
Yes.
Sure.
Right? Especially
Sure.
with a better player. There's times we need to look at the numbers. But if that's what you're counting on
Yeah.
to play well, right? That these numbers are all matched up all the time.
Right.
Sometimes it's better. The cure-all is to just go play it out, right?
Exactly.
Go figure it out, because sometimes we get so stuck on that number, it leads us to a move that's not advantageous, right?
I mean,
It leads us to some
that's what we
things.
talk about too. Is we've lost the art of the game.
Yeah.
There's still an art to the game of golf.
Could
It's
not agree
just-
more.
Yeah.
Just not
Could not
mechanical.
agree more.
Is it
Yeah.
is it Harvey Pinnock's Little Red Book of Golf?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a, my dad bought that for me when I was like 5.
Yeah.
And we everywhere we went, he said, keep this with you. And it's the art of the game.
Lower, longer, baby.
Yeah. The art of the game.
yeah.
Yep.
And it's another thing that's done. You don't find many Lee Trevinos anymore.
Right.
You don't see a guy that walks out there, and I happen to have the opportunity to caddy in the group with him at Odessa Country Club back years ago, the year before he won the U.S. Open for the first time. And we're on the holes that go down the highway. There's 3 in a row go right down the highway. And he tees her up. and he sets it up. And he hits her right out over that highway, and hits him a big cut right back in the fairway. You know, you don't see that anymore. You don't see people move the ball around. One, because technology won't let you. That ball won't spin that much anymore, and it won't turn like it used to. But that was the art of the game.
Yeah, shaping shot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are y'all in favor of changing the ball?
I am. I think the ball's gone too far. And,
Cool.
I had an opportunity to meet a member of Augusta once and visit with him. They're the people that can change it. You know, they can show up and say, okay, here's your Augusta golf ball this week. And, it's just the golf ball has just taken so many golf courses, and now we're playing 76, 78, 8,000 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, when does it stop? And I'm in favor of stopping it. I think that we all want to hit the ball further. It's fun, no doubt about it. But we also have limited land where our golf courses are, and we all don't want to play a driver wedge every hole too. So
Yeah.
I'm in favor of controlling the golf ball. So we, maybe the best players in the world can still hit at 320, 330, and I think that's a good change. I know that's upset a lot of people, but especially if I was in the golf ball business, it would not make me very happy, because then how do I differentiate myself from the next guy?
Sure.
I think there's a happy medium there.
Yeah.
I think you're right on with it. I think, like, if you took the collegiate level and the professional level and let those golf balls be more mandated and controlled, right? In the open market, it's kind of like you said. I mean, if you're selling it to, 10, 15, 20, 25 handicappers, let them pick.
Yeah.
If they want a conforming ball, let them have it. If they want a juiced up Pro V1, let's go. Play with what you want. But there's this other side. That's not really how golf works, is it?
Yeah.
No.
That's not how our game works.
No.
Yeah.
If the big boys are going to play with it, you got to make it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In fact, I'm looking at that box over there, Clinton. You remember the box?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so we had Richmond do this. We have a video where Richmond got in the bay and we had him hit
Serlin.
old school Serlin
Yeah.
versus today's ball.
Yeah.
It was 30 yards.
It was 30 yards longer.
Oh, there's no doubt.
No doubt.
It was 30 yards.
I mean, Dub and I grew up
it curved
hitting-
more.
Of
hitting
course.
the tour balata.
Yes, sir.
It's a
Yeah.
90 compression golf ball, and we both of us in high school played Persimmon Head Woods. I mean, that's all we had.
Absolutely.
The Big Bertha came out my first year of college, and I thought it was cheating. It was amazing. I mean, it was 25 yards. Soon as you
Right
hit that
away.
golf ball.
Immediately.
And then the golf ball got better. Then it got further and further and further. And,
Yeah.
But man, what a feel to hit a tour balata 90 when you chip and putt that ball.
Oh.
Man, you can feel it on the face.
What was it?
Absolutely.
3
Oh, man,
holes?
it's
You already
fun.
ripped the cover off of it?
Yeah.
I say it killed y'all's golf ball sales.
But you can hit one bad shot,
One
she's
miss.
over.
Yeah.
She had a
Yeah.
smile in it. You know?
One miss. You
The smiley face.
take that and put it in the water. It's done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
You
the
know.
problem that I see changing the ball, when you talk about, the tour players, the college players, then, major amateur events, USJ events, club championship. Well, it's club championship. What are we going to do there?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
if you
going to
go
go
out-
all the way down.
You go out and play a guy for $5.
Well, what ball you
Hey,
playing?
what ball are you playing? I want
Right.
to play the ball you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
So if you're going to change it, in my opinion, you have to change it
All the way.
completely for everyone that hits it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that you could have the happy medium, it just doesn't really work that way in our game.
No.
No.
What's good for one is good for all, basically.
The rules of golf are tough.
That's right.
Sure.
They're
That's
just gonna
right.
Be what they are.
Well, and it's the only sport where you gotta judge yourself.
right. Referee
Right.
Yeah.
yourself.
You gotta be the ref of your own game
Yeah.
to make sure you're being honest. And
Well, it's a beautiful game from that perspective.
Yeah.
Right. And honestly, we're sitting amongst, guys, we all have integrity and things like that because we have learned that through this game.
No doubt.
For sure.
That honesty that you're talking about. But the other side of it is there's an interesting little skill set that I think would come out of rolling the ball back. I think that you would see a greater gap between the true professionals
Sure.
and the people that have played up to that level. Do you know what I'm saying? Right now, it's just kind of a mess.
Intermingled.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you look up the amount of professional players right now, it's a bunch.
Right.
But how many are truly pro?
The
You know what I
the
mean?
cream of the crop.
Yeah. You know, how many have a real shot at getting there? I know, Rick, you've got several people that you've mentored through the years and dealt with through the years that have made it or have attempted to make it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the difference between those guys?
I mean, you go to, just like I was telling Dub, I go to a college golf tournament. You see 120 dudes lined up. Every one of them can hit it.
Absolutely.
And it's the golf is just gone crazy with the talent level.
Yeah.
I mean, when I went to play junior college golf, you know, I shot 75 and I was a good player. You know,
Yeah.
you shoot 75 now, you're not on the bus.
You're buried.
You know, you're staying at the house. And there's just so many better players, you know, and really the difference is just gets down to who can chip and putt. And that's one thing I love that when we stop somewhere to play or practice, man, the first place our guys go is that putting green.
Yeah.
And I've told them that 1,000 times. I said, you ever go to a PGA event, that putting green's crowded, right? And that range is wide open because they all know how to hit it. And they know that's where you're going to win and lose the game.
You know, that's fascinating that he brought that up because when I was at Augusta, you know, I mean, I don't know if you remember, I got to go to Augusta.
Yeah. You've rubbed that in a bunch.
Had a
How come you don't have your hat on?
It's like, yeah. Rick's just been busting my chops about the glare. Now I need a hat. Yeah, whatever. All right. So what I did notice was I'm sitting here at, you know, front row Joe for the driving range sessions, and there's like 3 guys out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I should have been was where Josh Allen and some of those other guys were. They were watching the putting green because that's where they all were. And I mean, from the moment they walked out, they would drop their golf balls off at the driving range or maybe hand them to caddy. But they went straight to that putting and chipping area.
Yeah.
And then they just maybe hit 10, 20 golf balls to get loose, and they gone.
They gone. Yeah.
I mean, Rick's exactly right.
Yeah, I think Richmond said it the other day. He said, you know, in high school, you're the star player. You can shoot a couple under par. You're the best player on the team. You get to college and there's 15 other guys just like you.
Oh, yeah.
And so the difference becomes who's going to work harder at that point.
Yeah. So that's a good question for Dub, probably.
Yeah.
What's changed? Why are there so many more good ones? Is it just awareness of the game? Is it
Access to the game.
technology? You know, what is it that has so many more really, really good players in today's world?
I think access to the game.
Yeah.
You have first tee now, things we've never heard of before. So there's more access for sure.
And there's a tournament every other day somewhere for these kids to play.
Rick was talking about a young man that he's going to talk to about playing at Wyoming. And he said his summer schedule had like 14 tournaments.
Holy smokes.
So they can play a 2-day event here and 2 days later in the week play there. And I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were kids, there weren't anything like
No.
that. We just played golf, you know.
Yeah.
Now you play an event almost twice a week in the summer, these kids do. I think what changed the game, honestly, to me, is Tiger Woods. He changed
No
the
question.
game forever.
No question.
It just blew up. People just loved the game, loved to watch him play.
Yeah.
To see a legend play in your lifetime is something special, and we just saw the exponential explosion of golf.
Do you think it's because he made the game exciting or cool?
Exciting, fun, also accessible for minorities, and everybody can
Absolutely.
play this game. Tiger Woods, everybody can play this game.
Well, you
Yeah.
think about like Tiger, you know, we see Tiger in the PGA realm and all his accomplishments on tour. But before that was junior golf. And
Yeah.
junior golf was unheard of, really, and because it wasn't as accessible.
It was AJGA, Clinton. That was it. Like,
But his winning ability in junior golf, if we look back at that now, man, that fires juniors up because man, he did it before tour. He was winning
Right.
in the amateur stage before he ever got to the professional stage. And I think it's right. He made it exciting.
Yeah.
And he made kids want to, man, I can do that.
Yeah.
And also, he set the bar at a level that made everybody better.
Sure.
Everybody tried to achieve more because look what this guy's doing. He made it real. You can really do that.
Yeah.
He could hit it a mile.
You can hit it forever and putt like crazy.
Yeah.
And so he set the bar so high that everybody playing
Had to come up.
had to come up.
Yep.
And knew they could.
Sure.
And knew they could be better because he took the lid off.
Yeah.
There was nobody that good before.
That's a really good point.
And all of a sudden, the ceiling is not as low as
It's
it was.
almost like the game of golf was in a box and he tore down the walls.
That's exactly
That's
right
true.
to me.
Yeah.
That's true. And it exploded.
Yes, sir.
And the ones that didn't really think about golf much because golf was not really a great athlete's game back in the Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer. You know, those guys would have a shot of whiskey and a cigar and
Yeah.
let's go play, boys.
Yeah.
You know, now they go to the gym and work out for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I was about to say they'd have a little gut and you know.
Exactly.
Which brings up a good point. Like, could you talk us through Wyoming's workout schedule? Because I know that's very important at D1 golf.
Yeah, even if we're on the road, we do that. But we have a designated trainer that comes in and has the guys with him. They go 3 days a week at 9:00, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, and they work out hard. And,
Yeah.
You know, I've got a kid here from Midland, Davis, who's a big old guy, and one day I walked in there and I didn't see our guys working out, and I'm like, "Where's our guys?" Well, they're out there running the stadium stairs. And I'm like, "You're gonna kill my guy. You're gonna kill Dave."
Where's Davis?
So that transition to you, Dub, when you were playing college golf, was there anything like that dedicated for the players?
It was basically the opposite. When I was in school, in high school, the thought was do not lift.
Yeah.
Do not lift. If you do, you're going to mess up your golf swing.
Stay limber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, it began to start growing a little bit, but that was much past my learning how to play and,
Sure.
and everything. And I look back at it and I think, no wonder they got better. No wonder they can hit it further.
Yeah, they're so much
They're
stronger.
so much more athletic
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so much stronger, and the technology,
Yeah.
everything all together.
It's like access to the game from all points.
Yeah.
Like from the staying healthy point, from the nutrition, from the working out, from the access to the golf course practice facilities, all from every side of the game, it's become more accessible. Scholarships to get players into college to pay for their school through golf. It's become so accessible for so many people, and I think it's growing by leaps and bounds. The player pool to pull from, to go back to what Jared was saying, is there are so many good players.
Yeah, I mean, like we'll get, when I started helping Joe coach at University of Wyoming, I was like, my big concern is where do we get our guys, know? And he showed me on his desk, I swear there was a pile of resumes this tall.
Holy smoke.
And he goes, well, I got these, but I won't take one player out of there. What? He said, no, everything I do is touch, feel, who I know, who this kid knows. It's just like life.
Yeah.
It's all about relationships. And,
Interesting.
that's exactly how we recruit,
So that I want you to go a little deeper into that, because we've been talking about this in previous weeks. Especially for West Texas, for colleges and universities from all over the country to pull from West Texas is a little more difficult, even though Midland College has been the number one ranked junior college for how many years?
Midland, Odessa here, who have the best
Yeah.
players in the country,
And so relationship is a very interesting point because I think a lot of the juniors coming up now, it's like, well, what's my resume look like? How many tournaments have I won? How did I do in high school? And then you come in with the bomb of, I want to know these kids.
Yeah.
I want our players to know these kids. I want to know on a relationship level who these people are.
And we're a little different at Wyoming. We only have 8 kids, and you have to have a 4.0 before we're probably even going to speak to you, and you have to be an American. That's just what we do, and so it's a little different.
That's what's up.
So, it really gets down to relationships because, the way we travel, we stay in a house and we're around these kids for a week at a time, and
Camaraderie.
I need to like them.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They need to be high integrity too, right?
No doubt,
I mean,
100%.
Do you? I want to think about how I ask this question. Do you think it's advantageous to be on that level instead of just looking solely at, because Richmond talked about camaraderie. There has to be camaraderie in the team.
Well, that's
That's
why he
exactly
left one
why-
of the schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Joe does it. I mean, our guys, when we had Bryce Waters here from Midland, we won the intramural basketball championship.
Yeah, baby.
So, I mean, so we all play basketball together, play fantasy football together. We watch sports together.
It's a family.
And like a Friday night, you have the UFC fight, and we'll buy it and watch it together. And so it's not just about golf, and then that's what I tell our kids all the time is it's all about relationships.
So important.
Everything I did in my life, it's funny to say, but it's the truth. Everything in my life has been tied back to this game.
Yeah.
My health, my surgeries, my doctors, my friends, my accountants, my whatever. These are all golfers,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
all tied into this little community. And then you operate in this community. That's how Dub and I met.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I met Dub when I was in college, and we played Mission.
Right.
Dub was a member there, and I was in college, and my brother was working with Dub was working for my brother. So, we went and played golf, and I'm thinking I'm going to wear this kid out. This old man. And I think.
How'd that go, by the way?
I think Dub shot 64 that day. And I'm playing in college thinking I could play, and he just drums me. And I was going to bet him, and Danny's like, no. No, you're not playing this guy.
Yeah.
And so, and that's how Dub and I met. And now we've been friends for 40 years and best of friends. We played
Absolutely.
a couple hundred events together and traveled all over the world and played golf. And
We have.
And, what a great testament to our friendship
Sure.
of what golf brought to us. And he's from Monahans, and I'm from a little town of Wyoming, and we end up being the best friends in the world. So,
Yeah.
and that's all through golf, and you just cannot replace that.
Absolutely.
That for and that's what I keep teaching my kids is you got to take advantage of your golf game and take advantage of the relationships, and I said it goes both ways. You help them, they help you.
Sure. Reciprocal.
Yeah.
And that's that fruit is growing, and you can see it in your kids, man.
Yeah.
Just that fitting the other day, it was so cool. And y'all may think this is just corny as heck, but dude, I got a hug after that thing.
Hey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, and a lot of people might go, "What the heck?" I mean, no, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome because he got help. This kid is so raw, dude. He's
2020,
so
right?
raw.
He started playing in 2020.
Yeah, isn't that right?
Yeah.
He's been playing 4
Yeah,
years.
he was a high school football player.
Right.
And
tell him about what he
played
said,
4 or
coach.
5 years, and he had met one of our ex players, and one of our ex college golfers was his coach teaching him golf, and he was a football player, but Coach Joe met him and talked to him. He said, "Hey, Patrick, send me some video." So Patrick sends him a video of him returning a punt on Friday night.
How good is that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Hey, he scored a tutty on that one.
he sure did. He ran
I'd have sent it too.
You're on the team, boy.
I just said athletes play golf now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, even Dub was all state football and basketball player and golf and just, and I played football and I wrestled and played golf and so
State champion
and
wrestler.
We always want athletes.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you that if you only play golf, I'm not going to recruit you, but I would prefer that you play other sports. We
Sure.
played with 2 kids in Midland here the other day that were sophomores in high school. I had 2 of my players, and we played out in the country club, and we're playing, and we get done playing, and one of the kids actually asked me, "Hey, I play basketball. You think I ought to continue to play basketball?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, absolutely, you need to continue to play basketball.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: if you play football and you play basketball, and then later in life you play golf, you carry every bit of that with you.
Yeah.
That determination, the fight.
Sure.
You know, you got to get up. You got knocked down. You got to get up.
Yeah.
You're gonna get knocked down in golf too.
Absolutely.
You know, if you find you're a really good athlete that will claw and scratch in every sport he plays, give him a golf club.
And that's Patrick, the kid
Exactly.
you fit the other day, and Dub changed his whole grip, and he's just lit up. He's so excited, and you know that's Patrick. When he makes a bogey and I'm coaching him, I get this little smile because I know he's mad and he's gonna rip off about 3 birdies right now.
Yeah.
And he
so-
does. You know.
It's not so much about that they're good at basketball or they're and most of them are. This is not saying they're not,
Yeah,
that they're good
yeah.
at basketball, they're good at football. It's that determination that's inside of them that's going to
Competitive
make
drive,
them
yeah.
good at golf.
Yep. Like
Yeah.
competitive
Yeah.
drive. And that's what I said. When you line up against a 300-pounder and he's going to run you over and you got to figure out a way to get out of that, you're not going to be afraid on the golf course.
Yeah.
You know, it just shouldn't intimidate you at all.
Something I want to ask you, Dub, is because we were talking about relationships, and I wanted you to speak to that a little bit of how important relationships are on and off the golf course.
It's the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my life.
Yes, sir.
You know, when Rick spoke a while ago about his and my friendship,
Yeah.
we go back to the days that we were driving T-post in the ground in Caliche, putting up fence
Yes, sir.
and digging ditches and, putting plastic liners in the ground. From there, you become really close with
Sure.
someone.
Yeah.
And to take that kind of friendship and move it to a sport, and then we've been very fortunate in life that we've been able to do a few things,
Sure.
and to be able to go to the greatest golf courses in the world to play.
Yeah.
There's not a better man in the world than Rick.
Yes, sir.
And before we pass that, I want to say this about the University of Wyoming. If I had a son today that was a really good player, I would send him to Joe and to Rick.
Yeah.
Not because that I think I'm going to make him a greater player, but I know when he comes from that program, he will know about business.
Yeah.
He'll know about personal relationships. He'll know how to get after it.
Sure.
And to me, every kid's not going to play on the tour.
That's right.
What's he going to be when he comes out there?
Sure.
And they do a wonderful job with that.
Developing life skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, when I sold my company and then Joe gave me the opportunity to come help him, and that's what it was about. It's not about, we want to have a good golf team, but that's not what I'm doing there. Not
Sure.
at all. That's
Well,
not even,
you can see your influence, Rick,
Yeah.
on every one of those players.
Thank you.
And
Absolutely.
Davis is the one that comes to mind first, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid he still is hilarious, by the way. He's a funny guy. But you can see just the maturation that he's had. And this kid used to hit war hooks like this
Yeah.
in that hitting bay in there. And in one season, just his influence, he's more mature in his mindset. He hits the ball like this, and even with a little cut at times.
Little buttercup.
And that is a testament to you, Rick, and the amount that I say this with all sincerity, the amount of lives that you've touched in this area. I know you touched mine, Dubs, Clinton's, everybody's here,
Yeah.
but man, you do it right, and we could all learn from you, man.
Yeah,
You're awesome.
It's been a good ride. I mean, a lot of that is just being able to be around good people. And
Yeah.
like I said, that comes back to the golf community here in Midland and playing in these, we call them beer and barbecue
Beer and
tournaments,
barbecues.
and playing at Green Tree in Midland and even Ira Ann and McCamey and Lubbock. And, we do all those things and you meet some really neat people. and it develops you inside, and you finally figure out what kind of man you want to be and who you want to be.
Sure.
And this has been I know it's my wife has to put up with me being gone 14 weeks a year, and it takes a lot,
Sure.
not only from her and me, but it's man, it's really given back to what God has given me. I get to give back, and I get to share. I mean, I do accounting homework. I get to share my faith, and and Joe gives me the ability to do that.
I think something that I've really been studying, and specifically in the Word and in my faith, is, finding purpose where your God-given purpose is.
Yeah.
And you can look back at your childhood and start to see where that purpose developed as a child, what you were passionate about, and looking back over from childhood up to our adult ages, it's so important to find that God-given purpose. And the reason why is when you step into what God designed you to do, everything flows right.
Yeah.
The doors open that need to open, the doors close that need to close, the relationships in your life work, right? You being gone 14 weeks a year, as hard as that is on a family, your wife understands that there's a God-given purpose and a God-given design in your life to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it just makes everything work. There's good fruit being produced.
Yeah.
Well, she's part of that too.
Sure.
She's about as precious of a human as you'll ever see.
Absolutely.
And, she embodies all of that as well. I mean, they're a phenomenal team as far as
That's where
that
I
goes.
learned. I mean, I learned my faith from her.
Sure.
I got a front row seat. Of
Yes,
what
sir.
It's supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And that's been a blessing, and it's helped me grow, and it's given me the confidence to be able to share my faith. And there's one player on our team in 6 years I just never had. I never got the opportunity, or I didn't make the opportunity, and he's leaving. And the very, very last lunch we had together, I finally said, "Hey, what are we doing about church? What are we doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we had opened up the conversation, and it was just his teammates were listening, and because he's a leader and a player on our team that's highly respected, but he doesn't live his faith out forward, and so I finally just said, "Hey, this is my last opportunity. What am I going to do with this?"
Yeah.
And got to share my faith with him and let him ask questions, and man, it lasted 45 minutes, and I'm like, God, I wish I'd have done that 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I can look back at many situations in pastoring that you never know, right? That there may have been plenty of opportunities to share that, but the seed you planted in his life in 45 minutes will last for 40 or 50 years.
Sure.
And you never know when that's going to sprout and begin to grow. And so what you're doing in the short time you have with these kids in this scale of life, right, is that you're planting seeds that will germinate maybe 10, 15
no
years
doubt.
down the road.
No doubt.
And you're helping these kids find their purpose. And
Well, I can tell you just from a personal note, man, and this is just the truth. I too have been in that, and where your player was, internally loving Christ and having faith and that, but outwardly not pursuing that the way I should, not pursuing that with excellence. And it comes down to one thing: it's courage.
Exactly.
And when you see men like you, living it out on a daily basis, pouring into other people,
Sure.
it gives you the courage. Forget the word inspiring, right? It gives you the courage to do that better. And thanks to you, Rick, and you, Dub, and you, Clinton, I've become more free in that realm, in that.
Well, I've seen
living
that.
that
I've
out.
seen that growth in you in the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. Have to.
It's
Yeah.
been fun to see.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys for that and
Yeah.
for what you do. And it segues perfectly to his daddy.
Just one more thing before.
Yeah,
we go.
yeah.
When we talked earlier about, what it is to be on the course, how you play, this, all of that, it all really comes down to one thing: is who you are,
Sure.
and it gives you the opportunity while you're out there with 3 buddies, 3 people you don't know at a tournament, maybe, that you really don't ever know what that person might be watching.
Yeah.
You know, if you throw a fit, you're a fit thrower.
Yeah.
And it was said back years ago, you can learn more about someone in a business. And if you want to be in business or do business with someone, take them to play golf. You'll learn more in 4 hours than you'll learn in 4 years calling on them in their office.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you never know when that one person will see you do something, they'll give you the opportunity to share Christ with him.
Yeah.
It happens. I mean, but it's not an accident. You know, God put you there.
Sure.
And to use this game is phenomenal.
Well, it circles back to the authenticity, right? Is being the person God created you to be. And the scripture I've been stuck on is out of 1 John 1, God is light and in him is absolutely no darkness at all. If we claim to have fellowship with him, yet walk in darkness, then we're liars. And it's the being the person on the golf course, in this example, being the same person on the golf course as you are at home, as you are in church, as you are around your family, as you are in front of friends, is being the authentic person God created you to be. And that shining light does more than any words you could ever say. Your actions, the way you hold yourself, the way you walk, that does more for people than when they see that.
Yeah.
How you hold yourself on the golf course, how authentic you are, that does more for shining a light into people's life than maybe sitting through a sermon on a Sunday.
And just remember that we all make mistakes.
Absolutely.
You know, and I was a club thrower,
Yeah.
100%. And then you finally come to the realization that is that the guy I want to be. And
Exactly.
and you finally give that up. So if you're a club thrower or you're a fit thrower, don't think we're looking down on you because you're looking at all of us have done it.
Not at all. Yeah.
And all we can
100%.
do is get better and ask for forgiveness
For sure.
and try to do better next time.
Yes, sir.
And who knows? It may show up again someday. You know? So
Yeah.
you know, don't think we're judging anybody
Not
because
at
we're
all.
all there too. So,
Oh, I've had burials at sea. I had a 3-wood one time. You'll love this. The Paldura Creek, number 3 is a par 5. You got to carry a first part of the creek is about, 200 yards from the back tee box, right? And then you got some more water about 300 yards down there. I mean, it's a tough hole. It kind of winds through 2 parts of the creek. And I hit a driver. I don't know that you could say I hit it. I topped it. You know,
yeah, I like that shot.
and it stops right before the creek, the first creek. And so I grabbed my 3-wood. My dad's playing with me. I hit the 3-wood. I topped the dadgum thing into the water, and the 3-wood followed it. A big Bertha warbird is gone. It was in the water right behind it. And my dad looked at me. He goes, "What are you doing?" "I gave you that 3-wood." I was like, "Oh, man, he did give me that 3-wood. What an idiot." As it's going clunk, 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 sinking down to the bottom of the creek, I ain't jumping in there. It's disgusting in there, right? I know what's in that creek. And my dad looks at me and he says these words, "Son, I don't know why you do stupid stuff like that." And I was like, "Well, Dad, I was pissed, all right? What do you want me to do?" And he goes, "Well, I'd prefer you not throw your club in the water that I gave you, for starters." He goes, "But you need to remember something, dude. You ain't playing on Sundays. You're not good enough
Yeah.
to be acting that way."
Yeah.
Right.
He goes, if you were 5 under par right now, we might have a different discussion.
Yeah.
But you're not. Okay? And he goes, "You need to learn to enjoy this." And boy, that moment had such a profound effect on me because I'm sitting there wondering in my head, I didn't say it, I wanted to. I was like, "Yeah, you're going to shoot 120 today, man. What are you talking about having fun? How do you enjoy shooting 1,000,000 every time we tee it up?" Because it was all about scrambling. It was all about the adventure for him.
Yeah.
And that's where he found joy in golf, is recovering from the bad shot, putting himself in harm's way and figuring out a way to get out of it.
Right.
And man, when you start looking at it from that perspective, it's kind of interesting. I've hit some shots, I can promise you, though, talking about God and stuff, that I'm guaranteeing you, even he's up there going, "That was a good one." Like, how do you hit that, bro? You know, I did one on Sunday, actually, at Odessa Country Club. It was a doozy. But I digress. My point is, it's kind of a good segue for Dub to talk about number one, your daddy, and this wonderful golf tournament that we have that's coming up in June. Do we still have any spots if somebody wanted to play? Could we get them in?
We can still get people in, yes.
Okay, cool. So everybody out there, sign up for the Huckabee Memorial. It's in Las Vegas, June 18th?
22nd.
20th through the 22nd, excuse me.
20th through the 22nd.
June 20th through the 22nd. It benefits one of the greatest organizations in all the world, and I want you guys to dive into that because I love that story, how it started with just a couple of lives and where it is now. I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
And but this tournament benefits the Life Center, and it is a great time of fun and fellowship. A little bit of debauchery, maybe, in Las Vegas. It is what it is. But for the most part, it's all of us getting together. 40 teams have already signed up for this. 160 players are going to be leaving Midland, Odessa, and going to Las Vegas, Nevada to play in this event at Paiute. So we'd love to have you guys out and come and play in that. But, Dub, tell us about your father.
We'd be here a long time.
He was a great man. We'll start there.
Well, he was my best friend.
Yeah.
So from the time I was big enough to remember, he had me by his side. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was a calf roper. He was a calf roper at Hardin Simmons, and a very good calf roper. He got beat by 1,000th of a second in the national finals rodeo in the collegiate rodeo.
Holy
cow. So he was a good calf roper.
Yeah.
Calf ropers make great golfers, by the way.
And I've looked back at that because from the first, from time I was big enough to walk, I had a pig and string, had a rope, and you'd go by and I'd rope your foot, or I'd tie your feet. And I tied the pig and string a lot. And if you do that, you watch those guys on TV in the national finals, they can put 2 wraps in the hui on in about 0.5 of a second. I mean, it's phenomenal how good their hands are. And I think back to those times and wonder how advantageous that was for me having good hands, and being able to hand-eye coordination, mm-hmm. and being able to have that ability to do some things that I might not have been able to do.
Sure.
But he was a disciplinarian, which I think has changed over time. Today, I think you don't see quite the discipline we saw back 65 years ago. It was a little different.
It was about being a dad back then, not, you became best friends through it.
Exactly.
Because there wasn't a dad back then that wanted to spank their kid or to, uphold the rules to a very staunch degree, but, that's how it needed to happen to produce great fruit, right?
You talk about throwing the golf club. Mm. Well, I knew one thing. That was a really bad idea. I mean, if I was going to throw a golf club, I would search out. I would look. I was going to make sure he wasn't anywhere around because that was fixing to be a really bad idea.
Yeah.
And after I got away from him and got to college, I thought I was pretty cool to do that a little bit. And I went through my club throwing and fit throwing, and like I think everyone probably has.
Sure.
And
sometimes that's just passion, though, That's just wanting to be good.
It is.
If it's channeled, we can get through that, right?
It is. I mean, you have to have that fire.
Yeah.
You have to have that burning passion to be you don't want to hit a bad shot, obviously.
Right.
And if it matters, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
Because you got the practice team.
That's right.
But he was a great mentor for me. And he taught me in team sports, especially. A quick story, I wound up making all tournament most valuable player in a basketball tournament.
Coach Huckabee was Dub's high school basketball coach.
He was the head coach.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And he walked by and said, "Let me see that." He handed it to me, and he goes, "Good job. Good job. You might want to mention to them how good they did, because you wouldn't have got that without them."
Golly, it's awesome.
So, at a very young age, you may have won, but look around.
Yeah.
You didn't do that by yourself.
Yeah.
You may have got the trophy,
Whole line of people behind you, though.
and way big, long line of people
Yeah.
behind you.
Yeah.
And if you're not grateful to that, you'll never be as good as you could be.
Yeah.
I believe that. And if you're not grateful to Christ for what he gave you, the gift he gave you.
Yeah.
So we kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
He was in college when I was born. And so the relationship grew over time. And then after I got out of school, went to college, played a little professional golf, and was back here. He and I played together all the time. And we played in every partnership together. And man, I'd tell every dad, take every opportunity, play with your son.
Mm-hmm.
Play with your son every chance you get.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that he was really, really a good player, and we could compete at the top level. So we played, I don't know, tournaments probably in this area for 30 years, 35 years. And it was really special to have a dad that was my best friend.
Yeah.
I think they've won the Jamboree out there 6 times.
Unbelievable.
6 times.
Well, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but
Is that right, Dub? Just 6?
I think it's 5.
Oh,
Maybe won
okay.
5 times.
It felt like 6.
But was it in fact Ron that coined "Watch This"?
No, that was me. No, that was mine.
Ron coined the word pods.
Pods.
Pods. Okay.
I promise you, that's where that came from.
That
Yeah,
he started.
pods.
He started that word.
Yep.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And if you say pods around here,
That's where it came
they
from.
know where it came from.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the watch this. Okay, it's one of my favorite Dub stories. Real quick one. We were in the old store in that little bitty room, and Dub, just so everybody out there knows, Dub warms up not with a wedge or a 7. He uses a 5-iron to warm up and practice with. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so Dub's hitting these shots, and I had to step out. I was going to get a shaft or something. I can't really remember. But I had to step out of the room for just a second, and I hear, "Dad, gummit!" So I turn around. I'm thinking, what in the world? And I look up on the screen, and the ball's offline like this far. It's like not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like 10, 15 feet. Right? And I said, "Well, Dub, what in the world's wrong with that?" He's like, "That's not where I was trying to hit it. That's what's wrong with it."
Yeah.
Now watch this. And he hits it. And I mean, it could have gone in. It should have gone in. It finished about like this far from the hole. It was a beautiful shot. And he goes, "That's what I was trying to do." But before he hit that shot, he said, "Watch this." And we've laughed about it ever since.
for sure.
Because even out on the golf course, now watch this one.
Yeah, and the hitting
So-
the bays. doing
Yeah.
the fittings.
Yeah,
Watch,
oh, yeah.
watch this. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah. Well, now watch this.
It's incredible. Yeah.
And he'll do it.
Yeah.
He'll pull it off. But there's some great stories behind that. I know with you and your father in winning some of those events. Y'all kind of, the point I'm trying to make is you pushed each other
Exactly.
competitively,
For sure.
but also as father son. There's a great basketball story that they have too that was hilarious.
There was something to be said for the competition between he and I,
yeah.
which is another thing about golf. You know, not many fathers and sons are going to play football against each other.
Right.
Not many fathers and sons are even going to play basketball. You get a lot more basketball, but to be able to play golf, you can do that.
Yeah.
And you can do that for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, you can't beat me.
How long before you were beating him? What age?
I was about 15 when I finally beat him. But the floodgates opened then.
Yeah.
Because I beat him, the first time I beat him, you know, he was like, I knew the day would come that you would get there. And I said, well, we're going to do this a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, because he did not back off.
Yeah.
He was not going to let me win. If you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me.
Yeah.
And if you can't ever beat me, you can't ever beat me.
Yeah.
And what a great gift.
For sure.
Because I'd have never been as good as I would be, and he would not have been as good as he was going to be if he'd have done that.
Yeah.
You can't let someone have something.
Sure.
Let them earn it.
Yeah.
They will. They will.
It's one of my favorite things. I was on Krista's podcast, Krista Escamilla, which if you haven't subscribed to that, go check that one out. She's awesome. But Krista talked about giants, that we all have these giants in our life.
Yeah.
These major influences that you can go back and go, yeah, that's what, mine was my Uncle Tom, as well as my father in a lot of other respects. But my Uncle Tom, from a golf perspective, everything I do is because of Uncle Tom. But it was the same thing. I always wanted to beat Uncle Tom.
For sure.
And we went to Hawaii. Uncle Tom is like 70. Okay. He used to say, I can't hit balls in a phone booth, which I still don't know what that means. But basically, he just couldn't swing it hardly anymore. We played 9 holes at Turtle Bay in Hawaii, and that old fart still beat me. In 9 holes. And I was like, dadgummit, I thought this was going to be my chance. This was my time to beat Tom.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, he passed away before we got a chance before I got a chance to beat him. But chasing him was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it taught me so much. The biggest one was control. Because I would get out of control. I hated losing to him. And I would get so pissed, but I couldn't show him that.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was such a wonderful Christian man and just an amazing human. A lot of similarities, I would say. I think Tom and your dad would have been really good pals. Tom was a great basketball coach. He coached the women and was a broadcaster for Wayland Baptist University. Yeah. And I think they would have been good friends. But it's amazing, those giants. Rick, did you have a giant in your life in terms of golf?
Well, I have 5 older brothers, and that's how I started playing. We played on a little 9-hole track in Wyoming that had sand greens. So we'd go play. I remember playing at 6. I probably played before that, but really don't remember it. But I remember playing at 6 years old with my brothers, and the high score of the hole had to rake that green clean before you leave. So I did a lot of raking.
You boys don't know about sand greens. I grew up on some of those too.
So you just after you're done, you got to leave it nice for the next guy. So, for a while, they just wear me out. And I finally got better and better and better. And at 13, I broke par in Casper at a municipal and finally figured out how to play the game, and I didn't rake any more greens. Yeah. So it just really comes down, when you have 5 older brothers, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You just got to figure out how to get it done because they're going to wear you out. And they made me, a good athlete. And I wasn't a great athlete. I was just a great competitor.
Sure.
And I figured out how to play the games and how to manipulate situations that I didn't have to be the fastest, strongest, biggest guy to get it done. But that's where I learned everything from all my older brothers, and we still play golf together and love each other, and it's been a great ride. So
that's awesome.
My dad didn't play golf. I think I've seen him play twice in my life. He's a left-handed guy and real big guy, but man, he was a big sports fanatic. So everything we did, he was there.
Yeah.
And, big influence on my life. Very disciplined man, and you got to do the right things, and so all that comes back to the same situation where you just have to do things the right way, and if you do, you stick to your process and work at it, and you can finally develop a game where you can play and develop life that you can live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just processes. Stay in the process.
I've got to tell you this.
Yeah.
If I had one putt that had to be made, 6 feet, 10 feet, it has to be made, I'm picking him.
Oh,
He's putting it.
no doubt.
He's putting it.
You should see this guy.
He's
putt.
money.
Mr.
I'm
Gaster
telling
can
you.
putt.
Oh,
It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
He can chip it and putt it.
Yeah.
I think the
anybody.
funnest thing about that is also getting to teach your college players. Like when I get to stand, Coach Jensen and I got to play in the Riviera Pro-Am, and if we win $50,000 for the university. Well, I had 11-foot putt on 18 for birdie. If we make it, we win $50,000. And the tournament director says, "Hey, Coach Gasher, you make that, you win." I say, I think I knew that, but
Yeah, thanks for tacking that on.
and then we're playing with Peter Milotti. I don't know if you saw him. He won it this year again, but he's, I said, "Peter, come over and read this. I think it's just left edge." "Yeah, it's left edge. Yeah, just knock it in." And about ready to hit, and Coach Joe tells me, he said, "Hey, don't leave it short." I'm like, I got no chance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's not it's a Monday Pro-Am, but you're at Riviera. It's
Sure.
a pretty big deal to me, and stepped up, just hit it center cut, and we win $50,000, and that's what
That's
I try
so
to
sick.
teach my kids is, that's all you do. You've been working, practice. You finally put your foot on the line and see who you are and what you're about. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid of that situation. Embrace it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a chance to do what you've been working for.
Yeah.
Getting the ball in the
Just
the hole.
do it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
and
awesome.
so don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. And try to hit in the hole.
Isn't that interesting though? The people around you in that moment, right?
Yeah.
It's just a testament to how people think.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had a similar situation in basketball. Got fouled at the end of the game. We're down 2.
Yeah.
I shot a 3.
Yeah.
Got fouled on the 3, so I got 3 free throws. There is 0 time left on this clock. I had a fight earlier in this game with one of the kids on the other team, so now it's personal, right?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't believe. I had a coach tell me, "Hey, man, no big deal. Just
Yeah.
relax." Okay. That was pretty decent. "Hey, man," Jason came up to me. "Hey, man, it's all good if you miss one. We're cool."
Just make 2 of them.
They're already trying to prep me for potential failure. And my brain is like, there's no chance.
Yeah.
I'm rolling this kid up.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take my eyes off this guy because I'm about to just bury him, right?
Yeah.
I made all 3 of them, and we ended up winning the game, just so if you wanted to know the outcome. But my point to that story was, it's amazing how the other mindsets are around you.
Right.
The tendencies to point towards failure.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
I think what makes these guys unique, and anybody really that is an instructor or a great player, they're an encourager in that moment.
Sure.
And sometimes being the best encourager you can be is just knock it down, Potts.
Yeah.
Do your thing. Sometimes no words need to be said. Just
Yeah.
let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've done it 1,000 times.
That's right. That's right.
You go to that putting green, you've made that 6-8 footer, I don't know, 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
Who knows? Just
If you were about to putt it, I'd say, watch this.
What's this?
yeah.
I had the similar situation that you just described.
Yeah.
And it's funny how the different responses were. My grandparents lived in Andrews. My dad grew up in Andrews. I was in Andrews all the time. I knew everybody there.
Yeah.
And we wind up, me getting fouled with 1 second. We're 1 down, 1-1, and they call timeout. So we go to the bench, and all of a sudden, they start chanting in the crowd, "Dubby, Dubby, Dubby." And my dad is standing there in the huddle with us, and he starts looking around, and he starts laughing. He goes, "Ooh, this is going to hurt."
Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah.
We made them both, and they cried.
Yeah.
It was the different reactions are fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sure.
That's awesome. So we have this event now coming up in Vegas, June 20th through the 22nd. It's in honor of your father. And I think what is incredible is that your best friend has been with you the entire ride.
Unbelievable.
And he's used his resources, but he's also just been that friend. And you guys have created an incredible event, and you're to be congratulated on that.
Thank you.
But also thank you for such a great event, for such a I used the word inspiring earlier passingly, but that, my friend, is inspiring. That what has happened with the Life Center and its growth is truly God's work. And what's amazing is your dad's influence is still in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Isn't that great?
It's amazing, really. And a quick story of this kind of came about when my dad passed away, and we had the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of his ex-players, golfers in Monahans, who did the funeral. And we were at the First Baptist Church, and he said, I want to do something right quick. He said, if you've ever played with Coach Huckabee, or you've ever, he's ever helped you on the practice tee, or if he's talked to you about golf, stand up.
Mm-hmm.
90%?
At least.
Like 90% of the people in the church
Yeah.
stood up.
Sit up.
And Randy Rouse took note of that.
Yeah.
So shortly thereafter, they got in touch with Rick and I, and we went and sat down with Judy and Randy, and he said, what would you think about having a fundraiser for the Life Center and have your dad's name on it as a memorial for him? Man, what a great deal.
Yeah.
And,
what a great-
and when we went over there, they were in that little tiny
Yeah,
house.
a little bitty, tiny little 2-bedroom house.
That's
that
where
they
their
were in.
offices were. And I think that year, how many babies did they proclaim to help influence to stay? Was it a dozen or
It was-
2 or
It
5?
was
Or
a very small
It,
number.
Yeah.
it wasn't very many because
a
I
small
remember the
Yeah, it was
first
a
year I
couple.
played in
Right.
Mississippi, it was like 8.
okay.
Is what I want
Right.
to say.
Maybe it's 12 when
Yeah.
we went to Mississippi because I remember talking
Yeah.
about that.
Right.
But now it's 15, 16, 1,800 a year
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
that they help people, help couples. They don't just help the crisis pregnancy woman. We help the young man. We try to teach him responsibility in being a father, even if they're not going to get married,
Sure.
or we just try to lead them down the path to be great parents. And if you're not, we'll lead you down the path to help you adoption. Just do something to keep
Yeah,
for sure.
the child.
So, because the listeners may not know, could you tell the story of the Life Center kind of in a little bit of detail so they know exactly? Because you never know where this goes.
Sure,
We may
sure.
get a listener that is in need of what the
course.
Life Center helps with.
Well, the Life Center, one thing the Life Center does that's huge is they teach abstinent classes as young as elementary,
Junior high, I think. Yeah, I think we
high
started junior
elementary, junior high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll teach like 35,000 students
Holy
a year.
smokes.
It started out as a crisis pregnancy center where if you were pregnant, you could come in and get help, get a sonogram, get someone to talk to, lead you down a path to help
Sure.
you. And it's just grown from it used to be West Texas Crisis Center, Pregnancy Center, I
Right.
think, but it changed to a Life Center because it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's much more. It's education. It's actually helping with the sonograms and the care.
Yeah.
And then it's even afterwards. If you come to parenting classes, you can get diapers, child carriers, cribs, whatever. We'll help you with whatever you need and help you through that. And it's all paid for free. You just got to show up and get the help.
And the people there are just so welcoming and
Sure.
so precious and
Yeah,
just
great-
so
great
amazing.
hearts.
And they don't. I think the biggest thing that a woman that's maybe in crisis, if you're out there and you're listening and you're wondering, oh man, there's just no, so many times it's hard to walk in there because you feel like you're going to be judged. There will be no judgment.
No judgment.
There will be no judgment. They will take you in and love on you and take care of you and counsel you.
Yeah.
And now, like Rick said, 15, 16, 17, 1,800 babies a year. And we have facilities now in Midland,
Andrews,
Odessa, Big Spring.
Big Spring.
Yeah.
So they've expanded
Sure.
We have a day.
greatly,
We have
man.
a day in Monahans.
Oh, you have one in Monahans now.
We have a day.
Oh, a
in
day.
Monahans.
Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And so for those watching, and maybe you know someone. I mean, sometimes the greatest advocate in your life's a friend that knows you're going through something.
Yes.
If you know somebody, or maybe that's you, the information is in the description. Reach out. I think the greatest step is for you to just let go of the pride and reach out.
We're also going to put a link to the RHM Golf site as well. It's rhmgolf.com, right?
Correct.
And that's the official Life Center tournament page where they can take a look at it. And I would just encourage you to play this year. But if you're not going to play this year, then play next year. Plan on it, get a budget going, and play next year, because even though you go to Las Vegas and play golf, I promise you, you will leave that event better than you came.
The other side of that too that I wanted to ask is, say somebody's listening that can make a difference in somebody's life they don't even know. Is there a way for them to donate to the Life Center? Resources to make that available for more families to access
The
care.
rhmgolf.com site, I know, has a donation.
Yeah.
Has a donation in
Yeah.
the
Or you
portal.
can go directly to the Life Center.
And you make donations that
website.
way.
And the Life Center also, we have a fall banquet in October, and I think it's October 22nd this
Okay.
year, and it's a big event out at the Horseshoe. There'll be 1,400 people there, and this year we have Tim Tebow coming.
Tebow.
Oh wow.
So it'll be a great night. Last year we had Dallas Jenkins, who's the producer of The Chosen.
Yeah.
And so we always have some neat people come
Cool.
in, and
Dub, I'm
you have
gonna
an
need an
opportunity to
invite.
talk to that. And so definitely go see Tim Tebow, and you can get a table or a individual spot or whatever.
So
you can
I'm
do
going to
that
need
all
an
through the
invite to
Life
that.
Center.
I guess where I was
Yeah.
going
I love Tim Tebow.
where I was going with that is, even if you're not in crisis, maybe you don't know somebody in crisis, you can still make a difference in somebody's life by
100%.
donating to the Life Center.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
And Randy and Judy Rouse are on the board, and Judy's the director.
Yeah.
And Judy does a wonderful job.
Yes, sir.
And it's an organization that they do the right thing. The money goes to the right places.
Yes, sir.
And one quick statement that was made by a young lady that kind of will set you to thinking. In one of the classes that was taught, she came down after the class to the gentleman that did the class and said, "Why don't my parents tell me that?
Oh,
Wow.
Why don't my parents tell me that?"
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have gotten to the point that we've lost sight of, we don't make a difference.
yeah.
Those kids listen
Yeah.
and they watch. So the example you're setting, what you're telling them, it goes in and it's taken to heart.
Yeah.
And don't overlook the opportunity to be able to talk to your kids and let them know what they might be able to avoid a problem sometime
Sure.
down their lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, I have to tell this story, and you may have to help me along because I don't want to mess it up. But it's hands down one of my favorite stories you've ever told me pertaining to the Life Center, about the young woman that showed up, and her mother was like, she's made up her mind. It is what it is. Don't waste your time talking to her. She's going to have an abortion, and that's what it is. And they said, okay, well, let us just have a conversation and they started the conversation with her,
Right.
with the young lady. Have I got it right so far?
Yes.
And the young lady, through counseling and everything, is still kind of on the fence when she leaves. Several months later, a woman walks through the front door pushing a stroller.
Yeah.
And she walked in and she told the girls at the facility, at the Life Center, I just wanted to come by and thank you guys because the greatest blessing in my life is right here in this carriage, and it never would have happened.
Yeah.
I was dead set on going the other way with this, and now I have the greatest blessing in my whole life, and it looked hard. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but we're doing it.
Yeah. And you think about,
I mean,
Yeah.
you think
that's
about
because of that center.
that story, that woman deciding to keep her child, the generations that's going to change because that child was born.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
If you go back and look over the last 10 years let's go back and look at the length of the tournament.
Yeah.
We've been doing this now. Well, this is 21st year. Right?
21 years.
This will be the 21st tournament. It'll be 21 years. And there are a small number of people right now that are 21 years old that wouldn't be here.
That's right.
So
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun to have one of those kids playing our tournament someday?
Exactly. To know,
Man, that'd be
Yeah.
so sweet.
to have one that
Yeah.
would be able, to come be a part of the tournament would really be special,
yeah.
For sure.
for sure.
For sure.
World changers.
They do a great job.
One
I'm
at a
telling you,
time.
they do a great job at the Life Center.
Yeah.
They do a great job of loving people.
Yeah. Well, greatest commandment.
Oh man, exactly.
It's the greatest
That's
commandment.
what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
To love people.
I think it's
Love people to the Lord.
I think it's a testament to your father still though. After 21 years. He's still affecting lives,
He's
man.
still affected.
He's still affecting lives
Yeah.
through you, through your best buddy,
Yep.
and through the Life Center.
It's
Well, without Rick, none of this happens without Rick. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean,
for sure.
It's legacy
incredible.
though, right? It's legacy. Something
100%.
that I've always told my son, he's 12 now, is I want you to be able to stand on my shoulders and reach higher than I was ever able to reach. And that I may not get to see the fruit of it in my lifetime, but knowing that when he gets of age and becomes an adult and gets that he's standing on my shoulders reaching higher than I ever was able to.
Yeah.
And the fruit that the fruit of the seed I planted in his life, that his generation will get to see it and his kids' generation will get to see it. And I don't want to go down a rabbit trail, but it circles back to that as parents, we have to be okay with that I'm doing this for another generation.
Sure.
That I may not get to eat of the fruit of it, but it's going to make a difference down the road.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
That's
talked
incredible.
a lot. It's been said a number of times today. Plant the seed.
Yeah.
Just plant the seed. God will grow. He'll make it grow.
Yeah.
Just plant the seed. That's all He's asking us to do.
Let him water it.
And you don't know if it's going to be at a Life Center meeting or if it's going to be on the golf course. You don't know where it's going to be. But the golf course is a great place for it.
Or lunch at Chipotle.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love it.
You
That's
never
right.
know.
You never know.
Well, and it's you mentioned earlier how kids are always watching,
Absolutely.
right? Especially in those younger years, they're always watching. So, my Uncle Tom always used to say, be careful with your words. Make sure that
Absolutely.
your words are always
Life-giving.
always bingo, giving, not
Destroying.
destroying.
Yeah.
Not bad words.
Right.
Because it only takes one of those bad phrases for them to latch on to. You can say a million good ones and be positive, but just one bad one, and they'll latch onto that.
Yeah.
Because we're predisposed to kind of believe those untruths, if you will. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is you're exactly right. The younger people are always watching, they're always listening, but so are the adults.
Sure. No doubt.
It's never too late.
No, that's exactly right, because
That's
we
for
you know,
sure.
just the growth that Dub and I have seen in each other over the last, I don't know, 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
Well, it's 40 years, more than that. So, you know, we were kids too. And,
Yeah.
we did some things we probably not proud of. And,
sure.
But we just, you know, you just try to become a better person as we go along, and
Absolutely.
every day just try to be a better person.
Well,
and,
This like circles back to the importance of fathers, right? The story of the prodigal son in Luke 15.
Yeah.
The father did not deny him his inheritance. He gave it to him and let him go do what he was going to do. And it was so important that when the son came back, he didn't find a seat of judgment. He didn't find a seat of condemnation. He found a father that loved him
Right.
and said, no, you're not going to be a servant. You're still my son. Here's the ring. Here's the robe. Here's the sandals. We're going to celebrate because you're back home.
yeah.
Can you imagine if the son came back home but found a seat of judgment, a seat of condemnation? Right? There's discipline to be had. There's life lessons to learn, but the importance of a father still being there and being present for that son when he came back. And that just it plays to what you're saying is we've been young, we've made mistakes, but there was somebody in our life to hold our hand and be like, look, I made those same mistakes, but I'm living proof that it's okay and you're going to make it.
Yeah.
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 I think the other thing is this. A lot of times, you hear people say, you know, it's too late. It's too late. This is already done. It's not too late. It's not too late. Start now.
Yeah.
Start now. It doesn't matter where you start.
Just start.
Start. But you have to start.
It's never
That's
too
right.
late.
No.
The thief on the cross
Exactly. That's
Said,
exactly
"Hey,
what's going in my mind
I
when you
believe.
said that.
I believe, and he
Yeah.
said, "Today you'll be with me in paradise."
You'll
It's
be with
not
me.
too late while you're taking a
So-
breath.
Well, think about Barabbas, right? Before he even gets to the cross, Jesus trades places with him, a murderer, a thief, a rebel.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the impact that had on Barabbas's
Him.
life? We don't
Right.
hear about him anymore.
Right.
But that had to change his life when he left that podium where he was being put to death,
Yep.
and now he's a free man.
Yeah.
Right.
You never know
Yeah,
when
it's
you're going to
never
make
too late.
it. Never too
we
late.
can
Yeah.
just continue to grow, and we all make mistakes, and that's why Christ died on the cross. He can forgive our sins, and we can be clean and move forward and try to have a better day.
Mercies are new every day.
Yeah.
And those mistakes are continue to be made.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not that we don't make the mistakes still. We just try not to make the same ones or make those that we've made in the past. But mistakes are still made every day.
Sure.
The blood is what covers us.
It's amen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow.
I knew this would be awesome.
It's so good.
I knew it would.
And I kind of want to, I want to finish it off, and this may go another 20 minutes, but I want to finish it off like this by asking each of y'all, and it's not to shift the subject, but it's to kind of lighten it. Give me your favorite, and it can be funny, it can be serious, but give me your favorite golf story from all the years of playing golf. I want to know what your favorite golf moment is.
That's a hard
That's a lot of moments.
a lot of moments out there for sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a crazy one that like a little kid from Wyoming, 8 siblings living in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, not a shower, bathtub. And I got a chance to go to Scotland and play, and we played the old course and got to do all those things that you see on TV. And man, they're real.
Yeah.
You know? So golf, that just took me over there. And one day I had my brothers with me, and that sold my company. So we had a little fun trip, and we played Kings Barnes, and they didn't know, but we were going to have lunch, and then I was going to have a helicopter pick us up and take us over to Muirfield. So we're sitting there having lunch, and his helicopter comes landing, and it's loud, and everybody's like, "What is going on?" And we're about ready to finish lunch, and the guy comes in and says, "Hey, Mr. Gasser, your helicopter's here." And I mean, my brothers were like, "What is going on?" So we crawled in this helicopter, flew across I think it's called the 3rd, 5th, or whatever. It had been a 2.5-hour drive. It was a 12-minute flight over there. We landed, played, and then they flew us back, and we landed in the soccer field right by the Old Course Hotel. Walked in the hotel.
That's incredible.
That was a pretty fun day.
That's
That's awesome.
Yeah, a
That's
lifetime
once in a
experience.
lifetime.
Yeah.
It was funny.
I'll say this.
So.
If if you get to go on a trip with Rick, you get to say that's done.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we just took a quick down and back trip to Las Vegas. That's how it's done.
Day trip, yeah.
It was
work.
awesome.
Hey, that was work.
That was
Yeah.
work.
I love it. I love it.
We worked hard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to do it,
Got it all
right?
organized.
Somebody's
We're
gotta
ready
do
to
it.
go.
That's right.
Somebody has to do it.
Someone has to do it.
Dub, what about you? What's your favorite golf moment?
That's a really difficult deal.
Sure.
There's been a lot of things that have been really special, but I played in the Southwestern Amateur in 1973, and we played at Waters Country Club in El Paso there. And I had a caddy, and I hadn't been playing well. I'd finished my first year of school at Houston, and things were not good. I was unhappy, and it just wasn't. There was nothing going on good at that time.
Sure.
I grabbed a putter out of the trunk. There was a friend of mine, his coach's putter, and I said, "Hey, let me putt this today." Fine. So I took it out and I putted with it. Man, it really felt good. And I thought, hey, I'm going to go ahead and putt with it in the tournament. He goes, that's fine. So I have a caddy, and I'm, set to go first round. And I get there. My caddy has decided that he found a bag that's probably going to pay better, and he's probably right. And so he took off. Well, I've got no caddy. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I walked in the shop, and the pros stand there, and I said, I'm in a bind. And he goes, what's that? And I said, my caddy left with another bag. And he said, see that young man right out there? And I said, sure. He's the best caddy here. He said, I have no idea why he's not on the bag. And I said, good, great. So I took off, and I said, you want to go? I said, you want a caddy? See? No English. And I speak no Spanish.
Yeah.
None. And so he takes the bag, and we tee off. And on the third hole, I've driven in the fairway, and he pulls a club out and hands it to me. And I looked at it, and he went, normal, just normal 7-iron. And I hit it. For the 72-hole tournament, I never asked for another club.
He just handed him.
He'd hand it to me.
You tell him hit it hard,
Hit it hard,
normal,
normal.
Más o menos.
Poquito.
keto,
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah. And he learned that in 3 holes.
Yeah.
It was on the third hole, yeah.
Yeah.
And he'd read the putt, and he'd tell me where he wanted it. Firm.
Firm, yeah.
And we communicated for 4 days like that. We get to the 9th hole in the last round, and the green went up, and then for some reason I decided to make the back of that green. And so there's a little place in the back for a pin. But it went over this ridge, and all you could see is the very top of the flag. And I hit a shot, it goes right at it. And it hits, and when it does, man, everybody goes nuts. They're screaming and yelling, and I turned and I looked at him. I said, did it go in? He goes, no. So we get up there, and what had happened, it had hit, and it jumped down. It almost jumped in the hole. Then it backed back up the hill, and everybody thought it was going in. They all screamed. And so we make the turn, and I'm 2 behind. And every time we'd make the turn, I'd look at him and say, something to drink or eat? No. So that particular round, though, I asked him, I see. And I went, what? And he goes,
Cigarettes.
cigarettes. So I buy him 2 packages of Winston. See. He had smoked them on the back 9. All of them.
Both packs.
You could see him going down the fairway. It looked like a chimney. Well, long story short, we get to the last hole, and I've got about a 10-footer down the hill, and all I've got to do is 2-putt to win. And he's, poquito. Don't knock it past the hole. And I make it. And I hear something behind me. I turn around, and he's in a dead sprint. And he jumps, arms spread, and I catch him. He like to knock me down. I'm like, man, we just won the Masters or something. This is wild. So we finish up. Everything's over with, and I've paid him. And I went and I told the pro, I said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that you pointed him out to me. He said, well, I got a little story to tell you. I said, okay, what's that? He said, that guy's 25 years old. He has 5 kids. And he bet everything he owns on you.
Oh, my gosh.
He said he won more in this tournament than he'll make in any 5-year span of his life.
Oh my gosh.
I said, well, I really appreciate you not telling me that. I probably might not have fared quite as well.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool.
You changed that man's life.
Yeah.
And,
Change Dubs.
He changed
Yeah,
Dubs.
absolutely.
For
not,
sure.
Not many get that opportunity to win the Southwest Amateur.
Yeah.
and
And then after that, Dub went to Arizona State and finished his college career there, and has played, at the highest level. I mean, you don't realize who's sitting here, and he's played with everybody.
Yeah.
Ben Crenshaw, you can go down the list. Fred Couples, Fuzzy Zeller. I mean, he went to college with those two guys, and so he's been around and he knows the game, and he won't tell you those things. But, man, what a great
The humble
guy.
disposition is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
100%.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What about was it Arnold Palmer that was doing the
Yeah.
was
It was at the Texas Oklahoma Junior Tournament, and Arnold Palmer had won 3 of the majors, but never won the PGA. And they were having the PGA at they were having it in Tulsa at what was the golf course they played?
Southern Hills?
Southern Hills. And Arnold Palmer actually played his practice round on Wednesday. And he got in his jet and he flew to Wichita Falls, and he gave an exhibition hitting balls, then played 9 holes and spoke at dinner, and flew back and played at 7:30 the next morning in the PGA. That was Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the story that Jared's asking about is I had the opportunity to meet him that day, and when he came out to do the exhibition, my granddad and I were with him, with Arnold Palmer, and they walked us up to the ropes. And so we were standing, 6 feet from him. And I saw pictures later, and they said there were 10,000 people there. They completely ringed the entire hole, number 1 at Weeks Park. And the pictures were phenomenal. They were like 8 people deep. And he's mic'd, and he's standing there hitting balls, and he's got a young man, he's got a towel in a box. And he told him, go down there about 140 yards. And so he starts hitting some little short irons in there to him, and this guy's standing there with this towel, and the ball would hit and bounce, and he'd catch it and put it in the box. Hit, bounce, catch it, put it in the box. And he backed him up, and he's hitting 5 irons. Hit, bounce, catch it, put it in the box. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. I mean, this guy hadn't changed. He just stands there, and he catches all of them, And somebody in the crowd hollered, hit your 1 iron. And he looks around, who said that, and he goes, testing me a little here. And so he pulls his 1 iron out, and he just smokes it at this guy. Boop, bounces, catches it, wipes it off, puts it in the box. Like, holy mackerel, this is amazing. And he goes, I'm going to hit you a little cut in there this time. And he hits it, and it doesn't cut. He hits it about 10 feet. The young man probably took 2 quick steps, catches it, puts it in the box. And Arnold Palmer's like, oh, that's exactly why I've never won the PGA right there. That ball's supposed to cut. And he throws the ball down, he takes a 1 iron, whack, and it just cuts it right in 1 hop. Boom, catches it, puts it in the box. Like that.
Yeah. Watch this.
Watch this.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just like in the hitting bay, the story I told earlier. He's
Watch this.
like that.
Yeah. Like that.
A little different on a Palmer than me.
For sure. Man, what a great time. It's been an amazing time visiting with y'all and hearing all of the great things that I think we can all agree God is doing through y'all, and how he's changing lives out here in West Texas, but not only West Texas, but across the country. And I really, really thank you for your time and appreciate y'all taking the time to just visit with us for a little
We
bit.
appreciate you having us, and it's fun for us to share, and to have this opportunity to talk to you, and hopefully someone will hear it and get something out of it. And
Yeah.
but we appreciate you guys, man. I sure love what your shop does here and what it does for our community, and man, what a great business and partner of this community you've become. And man, I thank you for that too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to say this. I've played a long time and have seen a lot in the game and feel like I know my share about golf.
Sure.
And when I'm going to get a set of golf clubs, and people that know me know this, and y'all will laugh, and he will for sure. I walk in the bay and I go, okay, Jared, what do we need to do? Yeah. And Jared goes into his, okay, we got this, and you did this, and this spin, and I'm like, okay, hey, wait, whoa. You do that, and you put them in that bag, and I'm going to hit them. I don't need to know why that happened like that. I just need to know it will happen that way if I do it again.
Yeah.
So you put them in there, and I'll use them.
Yeah.
And that's our deal.
Yes, sir.
When it's time that we're going to fix something,
they're going to perform.
Hey, Jared, I need this. Put it in the bag.
I mean, you're even seeing that. I mean, just like my college players come here and they've had other fittings, they've been other places, and they just have never had the experience like they have here.
Yeah.
And then they tell their teammates, and then they're mad because they didn't get to do that. And that's why Patrick was here. Jaron told him, and, it's just like, man, you just don't get that type of service and
for sure
the knowledge that you guys have. And, when we taught Patrick, I called Dub that morning because I knew we were going to try to change his grip. And I knew no one better than Dub to start that with him, and then to have him and Jared in there both. We were in there 5 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, that kid it's just going to change his life.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. It is golf. It's golf. And it's technical and all that. But Jared said it earlier. When we finished with that young man, his word was, you changed my life today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he can do it.
Well, not only in golf, but you see how you give and love, and
exactly.
He learned from that.
That's the whole process.
And he would have never met Dub probably or Jared his whole life, but through those relationships, now he's met him and he's got a new friend.
God-given purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
No doubt. Just like that caddy.
Yeah.
God-given purpose.
God had that caddy standing there at El Paso.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
it's an incredible story.
It is awesome. Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I don't think there's any way that we should close this other than this, given the opportunity for somebody watching that's never given their life to Christ to give their life to Christ. So if you're watching and you've never given your life to Christ, it is the greatest decision you'll ever make. It doesn't mean that there won't be ups and downs in life, because life gives us ups and downs, but it will give you the guiding of the Holy Spirit in your life, and God will transform literally everything. And so if you've never given your life to Christ, it's a simple prayer. Say, Lord, I make you the Lord and Savior of my life, and I give you every moment from this point on. And I want to invite you into the family.
Amen.
I want to invite you into the family. It's a kingdom family, and it is life-changing.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yeah, the visual I have of that is Christ knocking at the door. There's no door handle. You have to open that door.
Yeah.
And you have to let him in. And you're still going to have hard times.
Yeah.
Life's tough, and you're still going to sin. But like you said, the thing you said there that resonated with me was the Holy Spirit. You're going to have the Holy Spirit,
Yeah.
and it's going to help you guide your life.
Yeah.
We're still humans. We're still sinners. We can be better though.
Amen.
And with the Holy Spirit, we can be better. And
Yes, sir.
so it's not hocus pocus. We're going to be fixed forever, but we can grow and be better. And that's what Dub and I have seen through our friendship over the last
sure.
42, 3, 4 years, whatever. And we've seen each other grow, and
Yeah.
we've been tried to be good influences on each
Amen.
Right.
Amen.
other. So yeah. Well, hey, thanks again for
Yeah.
having us. It's been
And it's
wonderful.
never too late.
Never too late.
Don't, if you're out there and you've done whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's never too late.
The work has been finished, and the blood is enough.
Christ is standing there with his hands wide open, waiting for you.
That's right.
Man. Thank you so much for joining us on the GHQ Crew podcast. We pray you have a great week, and we'll see you very, very soon.